Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Commissioners regular meeting, January the 21st, 2025. At this time, I'll ask the City Clerk, Beth Davis, to please call the roll.
Commissioner Jeff Sanford.
Here.
Where'd he come from? Commissioner Sharon Neesmith. Here. Mayor Tom Watson.
Here.
Commissioner Curtis Maglinger.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bob Glenn.
Here. Thank you. At this time, if you're able to stand, please remove your lids. We'll have an invocation and a pledge by Commissioner Bob Glenn.
Bow your heads with me, if you would. Dear gracious and heavenly Father, we want to thank you for the many blessings you've provided us as individuals and our community collectively. We are blessed to live in Owensboro, Kentucky, a shining city on the river, although a river may be currently frozen due to the temperatures. Lord, we want to lift up all of our workers and those first responders who are outside in these intemperate cold temperatures. Please keep them safe. Please keep the school children safe as they go to school. More importantly, Lord, we want to thank you for the blessings of a bountiful economy in this community. I want to thank all of our businesses that we celebrated at a recent event in our community, how they improve our quality of life and make this a great place to live and work. And finally, Lord, we want to lift up our city employees, all the great work that they do to keep our community humming. But more importantly, Lord, help us tonight as a legislative body to make decisions pleasing unto you, Lord, and that will move our community forward. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner. At this time, we'll have a presentation by City Manager Nate Pagan for the winners of the Snowplow Naming Contest.
Thank you, Mayor. Almost 2 weeks ago, during a winter weather event, the Owensboro Times contacted us and proposed a snowplow naming contest. I've seen other communities do something similar, and so I thought that was a good idea for us to participate in. I thought it would be a fun and effective way to engage the community and bring some attention to the good work done by our Public Works Department. Public Works Department, unfortunately, doesn't get the recognition that it deserves, and so I thought that the naming contest was a timely way to acknowledge their efforts. So John Kirkpatrick is here from the Owensboro Times to give a little bit of an overview from their perspective as well.
All right. As Nate said, my name is John Kirkpatrick. I'm the assistant editor at the Owensboro Times, and we just appreciate the hard work that the street department has put in, especially the past couple of weeks with the treacherous weather that we've had. So we thought that this contest would just be a great way to kind of bring the community together and have some fun. So before the winners are revealed, I did want to share how the finalists were chosen. We all have access to various artificial intelligence, and we can access Google and see what other cities and metropolitan areas around the state have done. And those are all fun and catchy, but we really wanted something that was more uniquely Owensboro, especially since the city of Owensboro was our partner. So we decided to choose names that reflect our local landmarks, beloved businesses, and iconic names from our community. We understand that some of these names may have not been the funniest names, but they are certainly the most local, and that's who we are at the Owensboro Times, is local. So without further ado, I will turn things back over to the city, who I think has a video prepared to showcase some of the
We do, and so we thought instead of just announcing them here by one of us, that we would have the actual drivers and the people in the department to present that. So cue the video.
We're excited to announce the winners of the Snowplow Naming Contest. The first one goes to Owensboro Times.
The second winner is the Old Slickery.
The third winner is Burgoo.
Winner number 4 is a Big Drifter.
Number 5, Winter Whip.
And our last winner is Edward Blizzard Hands.
Thank you to Owensboro Times and everyone who participated in the contest.
I forgot to call you out the other day at the State of the City. I just gave Kevin all the kudos or whenever it was. So I want everybody to know how important you are to what we do in the streets, and thank you very much for your contribution. Okay, next item on the agenda is item 4B, Owensboro Museum of Fine Arts. Jason Hayden, Director.
Thank you for allowing me to address the commission. I am Jason Edward Hayden, and I have the enormous honor and good fortune to address you today as the new Executive Director of the Owensboro Museum of Fine Art. The Owensboro community has always been supportive of the arts, and on behalf of the Board of Directors and staff of the Art Museum, we are enormously grateful for the steadfast and generous support from the city of Owensboro, and I want to thank you all, thank this commission and previous commissions for what you've done for the arts in Owensboro and the museum specifically. In 1977, a group of concerned citizens led by the founding board chairman, Marshall Burlew, and the founding director, the late Mary Bryan Hood, responded to local government and community interest in creating an art museum as a foundation for the region's cultural infrastructure. The stars aligned and the museum opened in the city's Carnegie Library building, built in 1909 at the corner of 9th and Frederica Streets. The museum expanded in 1993, adding a new wing to house the Mildred Stout Field stained glass window gallery and to connect the Carnegie wing to the John Hamden Smith House, built in 1859. The Smith House was recently renamed the Medley Decorative Arts Wing to honor the gift of a $1 million endowment from Dr. R. Wathen Medley Jr. and his late wife, Jeanette Napier Medley. The Carnegie Wing and the Medley Wing are both listed on the National Register of Historic Places. And in 2008, the museum reclaimed a blighted gas station and transformed it into the beautiful Ryan Sculpture Park. You know, a museum is not a museum without its permanent collection, and the permanent collection of the Owensboro Museum of Fine Art has grown to almost 4,000 pieces of world art ranging from the 15th century to the present, and it has the best collection of Appalachian folk art in the state of Kentucky. We hold this collection, the permanent collection of the Owensboro Museum of Fine Art, is held in trust for the cultural history of the region. We take that very seriously. The Owensboro Museum of Fine Art is not just for today or tomorrow or 25 years or 50 years from now or 100 years, 200 years, 300 years. You all help us do that, and we are very grateful. Since the museum opened, it has presented more than 500 exhibitions to local and regional audiences, many from some of the country's most prestigious museums, galleries, and private collections. The museum's River Arts program, in partnership with the city of Owensboro and with Owensboro Health, established and maintains a world-class municipal public art collection. How many in this room have seen the public art around Owensboro? Everybody has seen that. The city has helped with that. We really do have a fine collection, and it is mostly due to the foresight of the city of Owensboro and asking the museum to partner with it to create and expand a municipal public art collection. The Art Museum celebrates the importance of the visual arts in the education of children. And to that end, it places an emphasis on creating spaces to facilitate learning opportunities. The Michael E. Horn Family Foundation's Artland is a fully equipped children's art studio designed to stimulate youthful imaginations and provide free art instruction. Kaleidoscope Cave, sponsored by John and Riley Hess, is an interactive digital gallery that combines experiences in both the visual and performing arts. If you all have not seen that or brought children or grandchildren or children in your lives to see those two spaces, please do so. They're wonderful spaces, and you will not forget it. You will enjoy it, just like you would enjoy, as you all have, coming to the museum and enjoying the beautiful, gorgeous place that the museum provides to Western Kentucky, the state, and the region. The museum's, the third space we were going to discuss is the Young at Art Gallery. It's a special space designated for the exhibition of young artists and is a showcase for projects from regional schools. And the museum's free summer art camps act as a catalyst for partnerships with regional social service agencies. So, we are very proud to announce that the museum is initiating new programming to expand educational outreach to citizens of all ages in the community, state, and region. Ms. Rebecca Stowen, here with us today, has been hired to lead that effort as the museum's new Director of Education, and it has employed Mr. Colin Davis as Assistant Development Officer to meet the identified needs as we work to advance the institution. These highly skilled individuals have already brought fresh perspectives and will be working throughout the community to build relationships and reach new audiences. So thank you again for your support. Please come and visit the OMFA and share the museum's vision for the visual arts that reaches far beyond its walls to shine an enduring light on the city of Owensboro. Thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda, Owensboro Sister Cities and Region Update. Chief James Howard, board member. State your name and address for the record.
Yeah, my name's James Howard. You can send me mail at 512 West 9th Street, which is Station 1, around the corner from here. Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. Obviously, I'm the fire chief, and I usually come before you in that role. But this afternoon, I have the pleasure of speaking to you as a proud member of the Owensboro Sisters and Cities Region Board, also known by the acronym of OSCAR. So, Sister Cities and Regions, or OSCAR, the local part of Sister Cities, is an award-winning local chapter of Sister Cities International. If you're not familiar with Sister Cities International, and most of you up on the dais are, it's a global organization that supports, facilitates, and actively participates in partnerships all around the world. So these partnerships include governments, nonprofits, businesses, schools, and other groups who are striving to seek common ground to promote commerce, grow cultural understanding between people, and to learn from each other's successes to solve problems that we experience in the world today, and engage to find solutions to problems that we see coming in the future, that we all as a human family might face. So Sister Cities International has a rich history. You can see this slide, the history and the reach of Sister Cities International. It goes far beyond what you see on the slide. But I'll say, while involvement in high school exchanges is one of the most well-known aspects of the efforts of the organization, there's a lot more going on at the local level to bring communities closer together, even in the cases where they're separated by an ocean. So you can see the reference to the two cities that are currently in a formal relationship with Owensboro on this slide. You have Olomouc, which is in the Czech Republic. That relation extends all the way back to 1994, so over 30 years of that relationship. In our other sister city of Nishin in Japan, we've been engaged in that relationship for a little bit less than 20 years and hope to grow that relationship even more in the future. So whether you're a public servant, a student, a tourist, a business person, an artist, there may be direct or indirect programs or resources through sister cities to help you accomplish your goals here in Owensboro and abroad. Well, now we can add firefighters to that list as well. In 2024, the Owensboro area firefighter exchange with Olomouc became a reality. This was a passion project of board member Catherine Brazil, and on these next few slides, you're going to see some of the images from two international trips that took place last year that took fire service professionals and volunteers from our area, Owensboro, and the surrounding area to visit their counterparts in Olomouc. And I was actually fortunate enough to take part in the first of these trips back in April. I'm actually on the far left there. You see with the folks that went over with us, folks from Davis County Fire and other departments in the area. So like I said, that trip took place back in April, and it was structured around engagement to build relationships between our agencies here and there to advance planning for future aspects of the exchange. The vision for this firefighter exchange program always involved firefighters from both parts of the world training side by side to learn from each other's techniques and to find opportunities to learn about different equipment and methodologies to make each partner stronger at what they do in their public service. So this was accomplished toward the end of September, when we sent a group of participants to visit Olomouc, where they participated in live fire and rescue drills, as you can see in the pictures. More importantly, our firefighters got to spend time in the firehouses of our fire service brothers and sisters to learn about them as people and as public servants. Firefighters from Owensboro Fire Department, Davis County Fire Department, Airport Sorgo, which is represented here tonight, Mosleyville Fire Department, Henderson, and the Fire Academy of Kentucky came away from this experience with meaningful hands-on training, additional cultural understanding, and built some new friendships. The hallmarks of our experience visiting Olomouc have been tremendous hospitality, and anyone who's had any experience with anyone officially or unofficially, I think from Olomouc, probably had some dose of that hospitality and knows what I'm talking about. It's off the charts. And also a generous exchange of perspectives from one side to the other. We look forward to the future of this exchange. We look forward to having a future with this exchange, as we hope to welcome Olomouc Fire and Emergency Management representatives to Owensboro sooner rather than later to learn about our community, to spend some time with the fire departments in the area, including the Owensboro Fire Department, and to experience barbecue, bluegrass, and potentially even suburban while they're in town. I'd like to thank you for your continued buy-in to the mission of Oscar. At this time, I'll introduce Michael Vanover. He's the current president of the Owensboro Sister Cities and Regions Board, and he's going to discuss some of the current and future efforts of Oscar. And after he speaks, if you have any questions for either one of us, we'll be glad to answer those. Okay? There you go, Mike.
Thank you, Chief Howard, for your service as a first responder and as a member of the Owensboro Sister Cities and Regions. My name is Michael Vanover. I serve as president for Owensboro Sister Cities and Regions. I'm at 3307 Shadewood Terrace here in Owensboro. I'm thankful to be here today, and I want to echo the sentiments of Chief Howard in thanking the City Commission and the City of Owensboro for its dedication and devotion to the mission behind Owensboro Sister Cities and Regions. It's a very active board. We've much to be thankful for and blessed by, not only in the devotion of our board members, but also in the results that the board has created. The board is very active, so much so that we actually seek out expansion of the board with the permission of the city. And we have engaged in a new effort to better involve the citizenry through a program that we launched here recently called the Ambassador Program. The Ambassador Program is made up of individuals here in the city and abroad, in the county and beyond, who want to have some involvement in the efforts and in the processes and activities of sister cities and regions. They will be fulfilling a lot of need because as the board expands its activities, we have greater need for more participation among the citizenry. That's not just in what we're doing as a board, but with the activities that the city has. The Ambassador Program was launched within the past 6 months. First class was 7 people, 7 younger folks who wanted to play a more active role in the program. And we have since launched its first program, which is the Educational Connection Program. And this is involving all of the elementary, middle, and high schools within the city and county. This is an effort to get the schools more engaged in what we're doing, since education is a vital part of what we do. And each ambassador has been assigned a role in communicating with a list of schools that was assigned to them or that they chose to be involved with. This was our first class that we met with. Since then, we continue to provide opportunities for recruitment so that ambassador program can grow, and we are already seeing results of that recruitment. We expect the ambassador numbers to continue to grow above the initial class of 7, and that will allow us greater opportunity to continue the expansion of what our activities have been put on our agenda. Some of those things that are coming up include the Ateneo Choir, who will be planning a visit here in the near future within the next 6 months. Fantastic choir organization from Olomouc that will be here in Owensboro. We'll also be involved in another secondary exchange, high school exchange. We had a fantastic exchange here recently with 8 of Olomouc students here in attendance to soak up some of the Owensboro culture, reconnect with old friends, create new friends, and provide a consistent, continuing relationship through the educational system that we're expanding connection with. That exchange is planned for October, when we have 6 students that will be traveling to Olomouc and extending those relationships that we've already created. Also, the ambassadors will be involved with the Young Artist and Author Showcase that we have involvement with through Sister Cities International. That's a very broad-ranging event that will involve cities and municipalities from all over the country and the world, and we're excited to have our ambassadors and the board and the city involved in that. So those are just some of the unique things that we'll be planning for the months ahead, including a reciprocal firefighter exchange, where those from Olomouc and the surrounding area in the Czech Republic will be coming here to Owensboro. That wraps this presentation up. If there are any questions, feel free to provide those.
Any questions?
Just one quick
Commissioner
one.
Glenn?
So years ago, we used to also have a partnership with WKU where they would take some students over to Olomouc and they would actually be in a class. Do we still do that? Is that part of your group's sponsored activities or not anymore?
Commissioner Glenn, it is at this time not a priority for us. We have since realized that WKU has its own exchange program that they're heavily involved with, which has allowed us greater focus on the other universities that are here locally. But there is a WKU alumnus and current faculty member that is interested in becoming involved with the board. So we're in the process of conversations with that individual who has some experience in Japan. And so we're continuing the dialogue with him to see if he's interested in becoming a board member.
Well, that's a truly beautiful city. I got the fortunate opportunity years ago to go, and it was beautiful and very enriching experience.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Michael, is there anybody working on increasing the participation with the Nation group?
Absolutely, Mayor. It has been a time of ebb and flow with our counterparts over there. There's recently been numerous turnover over there in Nation. As soon as we get things rolling with someone, they are moved to another position and the process starts over again. But in fact, we've kind of gotten some progress here lately that will be in the form of a proposed educational exchange through communication. We've since had here as of late a Teams meeting with some of our folks over in Nishan, and we're in the process of doing some preliminary work and creating a communication exchange between some of the elementary and middle schools over in Nishan and the schools here. So that's an effort that we're working on. We've had some progress, but we've faced here recently more turnover with our counterparts. So fortunately, we've set the groundwork enough with this initiative that it's kind of translated into the new personnel that are coming in to take over for the folks that left. So that effort continues, and we're confident that this year we'll be able to get that effort initiated, where schools over there will be communicating between classrooms. Classrooms over there in Nishan actually could be the Daiichi School and select schools here in the Owensboro area. So we are making some progress.
Well, you know, we chose that because it's so close to Toyota City over there, and with the amount of Toyota that's in the Commonwealth, I thought it'd be a good fit. So I was just kind of curious to see.
Oh, absolutely.
And I didn't know if it would help to meet with somebody at Toyota in Elizabethtown or someplace here to try and maybe goose that along a little bit, because, you know, it just seemed like a perfect fit. So just checking. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Thank
I
you,
want to
Mayor.
thank
Thank you,
Adrian Carrico, my assistant, executive assistant, for all the hard work she puts in to try and keep that thing rolling. She spends an inordinate amount of time on the sister city. So thank you, Adrian, for your help. Okay, next item on the agenda is retirement recognition. Telecommunicator Sandy Payne, excuse me, who is unable to be here, but I'd like to read this that was presented to me. When Sandy Payne joined dispatch on September the 27th, 1999, she brought with her a commitment to excellence that quickly made a mark on the city of Owensboro. She has been a key part of our success, always going above and beyond to ensure that Central Dispatch thrived. In her 25 years with the city of Owensboro, she has achieved so much, whether it was leading major projects, mentoring new hires, navigating challenges, or driving success. Sandy has been there, showing up every day with the same dedication and passion. Sandy has received at least 8 accommodations, that's spelled wrong, for her outstanding dedication to the citizens of Owensboro and Davis County. As Sandy steps down into retirement, wish her the very best. There's no doubt that whatever she chooses to do next, she will do it with the same passion, commitment, and excellence that she brought to her career here for the city of Owensboro. So, Sandy Payne. Okay, the next item on the agenda will be city project list. City Manager Nate Pagan, please.
Thank you. So as it is every month, the packet contains the project report. There is one new item in the project report this month that I wanted to identify specifically, and that is the repurposing of the tennis court at Dugan Best. The tennis court there has been an underutilized amenity for a good number of years, and so Parks Director Amanda Rogers will provide an overview of how the space will be improved to better serve the community. So, Amanda?
Mayor and Commissioners, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to speak about the repurposing of these tennis courts. All of our sport courts are in our replacement plan, which means periodically they come up for maintenance work. Every time that occurs, whether it's the resurfacing, refencing, in this case, those occurred at the same time. We look at what the activity is at that location, what the use is at that location, and we think about whether or not we need to go back with the same because it's going great and well, or whether there might be some new ideas for use at that space. We don't want to throw good money after bad in any way in the sense of repurposing something that's not getting public use. So that's what has occurred at this time with those tennis courts at Dugan Best. We reviewed master plan input as staff. We held a public meeting on August the 8th with just anyone that was wanting to come and attend. We publicized that, hosted that at Dugan Best Recreation Center. Had lots of input from the general public at that time. And we also spoke with participants and the general public that came through the rec center doors for the following 2 weeks, allowed people to kind of provide input, vote on some options that we had prepared and put out there as well. So through that plan, we heard a lot of great ideas about uses for that space, and we kind of settled in on proposing as staff the top 6 uses. And those were youth basketball, a goal not being as high as 10 foot, futsal, street soccer, obstacle course, outdoor fitness, gaga ball, general play space, and a batting cage. So what we as staff are proposing is the court as you see in this drawing. So you can kind of see behind the layout there that there's 2 tennis courts shaded out. And over top of those, the court in this picture to your right would become a half-court youth basketball court with a 9-foot goal. and that would also be a street soccer futsal court. So it's a dual purpose. Obviously, you can't do both at the same time, but first come, first serve, and that'll be there for use as well. We've seen a tremendous amount of growth in soccer in our community and futsal, and it serves a wide variety of citizenship and ethnic groups here in our community. So we're really pleased to be able to look at growing that opportunity here in Owensboro. And then to the left, what you see is obstacle course and fitness equipment in the top left-hand side, and that would be with the safety surfacing. And then at the bottom is kind of a multi-court, multi-use space. In there is a gaga ball pit, some hopscotch, and foursquare, and then some general asphalt space that could just be used for all types of outdoor gameplay and activities for the younger children. If you don't know what gaga ball is, it's basically a game in which you play inside of some type of perimeter, and there is a playground ball, kind of like a smaller kickball, and you do not want it to touch you. So as kids play, you might have 4 kids within this space, you might have 20 kids within this space, and you basically can open hand hit the ball, but if that ball bounces and hits you, you're out, and you have to go over the wall until the ball comes out. If you get it, you can get back in with the ball until the last man standing. It's very popular in schools right now. It's very popular at our day camp program. A young man, young Eagle Scout, built one of those for us at Ben Hall's, a gaga ball pit. So we've seen it really boom in popularity in the recreation field recently. So we're looking at adding that at the request of the participants at the center in that space as well. The other most popular use that we heard about was a batting cage. So the fencing on the baseball field is due to be replaced next budget year. So we're looking at working in adding a batting cage as part of that process so that we can make the most of our money, funds, and space that's available. So this is kind of where we're headed as staff. I'd be remiss not to mention 2 other activities that we heard about through the process. We did have one resident in the area very passionate about keeping tennis, but that was just one resident. And we also had 2 people that were very passionate about making that space pickleball. And looking at the full numbers and the total input that we received, we feel like that these uses of the space will serve more based upon that input. But with pickleball growing in popularity, I will mention that we are working currently on redoing the basketball court at Moreland. When I say currently working on that, you won't see action on property at the current time, but we're looking at renovating that basketball court at Moreland into 2 pickleball courts so that we will have some pickleball kind of spread out within our community as we grow pickleball at Ben Hall's. We would have a couple of courts at Moreland, and we would have some at York as well. And then replacing that basketball court that's there, moving that across the street to the Edge Sports Center side of Moreland Park and placing it there in that old armory area. So we're not getting rid of a sport, we're actually adding additional amenities. So that would be a way to kind of add some courts in the central side of our community as well. I'm happy to answer any questions you all may have.
Questions?
I've got one quick one. So the basketball court, is there any potential to tie that into like the Dust Bowl? Will it be large regulation size, big enough to add another dimension where they can play extra games or not?
No, we're looking at half court, and we're not looking at regulation for high school or college. We're looking at that youth go at the 9 foot so that the younger kids who oftentimes get pushed out of the play that goes on the large full court there at Dugan Best would have an opportunity to continue to play and not necessarily be left out, which does occur sometimes at Dugan Best.
Okay, and the follow-up would be, will we communicate that in signage so that younger kids are encouraged to play that half-court setup?
Well, younger kids are encouraged to play anywhere they can get in a game or anywhere that there's space. I don't want them to think that that's their only option, but we want them to know that they've got a spot. So when that does occur, when you get a lot of adult pickup games outdoors, they're not having to sit and watch. Now they're going to have an opportunity to have their own game go as well.
Sure. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Commissioner.
So send me an email on that gaga goo goo thing. I didn't catch all that, okay?
Okay. I'll send you a video. How's that sound? It makes it so much easier to follow.
Thank you very much. You do a great job. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Minutes? 5A. At this time, I'd like to consider approval of minutes dated January the 7th, 2025. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Could I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion, deletions, or additions? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. We have, I'd like to ask you to consider a board appointment, Human Relations Commission, appoint Rafe Buckner to a 3-year term effective January the 21st, 2025. I'll entertain a motion for that, please.
So moved.
Could I have a second, please? Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. We'll go to item 6, ordinance, no vote. City Clerk.
Ordinance 1-2025, an ordinance amending the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2024, and ending June 30, 2025, and amending ordinance 7-2024 to provide appropriations for land purchase, transfer funds for ARPA and capital projects, and to receive and appropriate grant funds, introduced and publicly read on first reading this 21st day of January, 2025.
Thank you. City Manager, please.
Yes, sir. This is first reading of an ordinance for the second budget amendment of our current fiscal year. The amendment doesn't contain anything new, so it's largely cleanup for various things. So, for example, various grant applications have been approved over the last several months, and now that those grants have been funded by whatever agency we applied to, we have to add the revenue and expenditure of those grant funds to the budget. Similarly, the purchase of the Veterans Boulevard property was approved back in December, and so included in this budget amendment is the funding for that acquisition. And then similarly, there's some cleanup for the indoor sports facility. So it aren't new funds that were budgeted. We're just consolidating where it was budgeted in 2 different places. So no new items in the amendment. This is primarily to account for those expenses and in some cases revenues that have already been approved for various projects.
Thank you. Any other comments from the dais? Thank you. We'll move to item 7.
Thank you, Mayor. Angela Waninger will present the December financial report.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
My PowerPoint presentation will be on the general fund activity for the month of and the 6 months ended December 2024. For those that have the financial packet in front of them, you can refer to page 3 for more detail. So for the first slide, reflects the general fund revenues for the month of December. Actual revenues were $5,296,011, which was higher than budgeted revenues of $4,726,745. This resulted in a positive variance of $569,266. This variance is primarily due to higher net profits, occupational withholding, and interest income. The next slide is for the 6 months ended December. Our total fiscal year-to-date actual revenues of $42,988,597 were higher than budgeted revenues of $40,108,992 for a variance of $2,879,605. This variance is primarily due to higher net profits, property tax, and insurance license fees. And I would like to add a note that a portion of the property tax as well as the net profits will be dispersed later in the fiscal year due to our tax increment financing agreement and developer incentive agreements. The next slide is expenditures for the general fund for the month of December. Actual expenditures were $6,055,494, which was less than budgeted expenditures of $6,197,908 for a variance of $142,414. This variance is primarily due to lower personnel services due to timing and vacancies and timing and transfers to other funds. For the 6 months ended December, fiscal year-to-date actual expenditures were $35,957,027, which was less than budgeted expenditures of $41,868,040 for a variance of $5,911,013. This variance is primarily due to maintenance and transfers to OMU, which is in the neighborhood of $2 million, just to give some reference to the variance. and savings in personnel services. Our last slide is a bar graph that shows the city's monthly revenues and expenses, and you can see how cyclical they are as depicted on this chart. Expenses, which are reflected by the red bar, typically outpace revenues in the warmer months when outdoor activities are in full swing. Likewise, we have months where revenues, as depicted by the green bar, outpace expenditures, such as in the months of November and October due to collection of property taxes, and the month of April due to collection of net profits. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you. Any questions?
I've got one that I asked Angela about earlier. So I'm looking at your chart, and I may have my answer right in front of me. So it looks like the month typically, maybe beyond this year, that we typically spend the most, and the month we spend the least would be, but it looks to me like eyeballing it, August is where we spend the most, like on street repair, and then it looks like, is it November that we spend the least? Is that pretty accurate, Angela?
Yeah, parks is pretty predictable as far as when the pools are open, and golf is based on the weather. And the same with street resurfacing. The asphalt plants open in May, and they're open until winter. And so the timing of the street resurfacing also is dependent upon the projects. When we have time to do that or outsource that is, up to the contractor as well. So, I'm sorry.
I was just asking her, I think the expense increase there in August was perhaps due to a 3 pay period month. So, because twice a year we have extra pay periods. We have 26 pay periods every 2 weeks. And so that's not a specific month, because that's a rolling, as it changes every year. But that's a spike, I think, in August is the third pay period.
Okay. Well, it's all good
So
information.
think about like what 75% of our expenses are personnel related. So when that spike hits, that's probably the biggest variance.
So beyond public works, it's also the pay for salaries for staff and employees. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you both.
You're welcome.
Okay, item 7B. Wait a minute, we're not done. We got to vote, don't we? Okay, I'll make a motion to file the financial report for audit. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Item 7B, personnel appointments.
Thank
sir.
you. Just 4 personnel appointments tonight. The first 2 being probationary, promotional. So those are current employees who are being promoted. That includes Zachary Brown, probationary full-time, non-civil service, promotional appointment to crew leader with the Public Works Street Department effective January 26. Sherry Hazelwood, probationary full-time, non-civil service, promotional appointment to bus driver dispatcher with Public Works in the Transit Department effective January 26th, and then 2 regular status appointments are those who have finished their probationary period. Beth Ebelhair, regular full-time non-civil service appointment to clerk typist with Public Works Sanitation Department effective January 29th, and Emily Anderson, regular full-time non-civil service appointment to recreation specialist with Parks and Recreation Department effective February 11th.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve these appointments, please.
Motion.
Could I have a second, please? Second. Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. City manager comments?
No other comments tonight, Mayor. Getting off easy.
Yee, amen, brother. Communication from elected officials. Mayor Pro Tem.
Had a few calls, of course, with our snow event about residential streets needing to be cleared. I am aware of the policy, but my street was one of them too. So when I had this conversation, I decided to check what other cities do. And I want to give Nate a big pat on the back. Generally, the policy was pretty much what we do, even in a place like Cleveland, Ohio, or Cincinnati. But having said that, I'm wondering if we couldn't look into maybe in the long term, maybe if we got 5 inches or more, which I think, Nate, isn't that the criteria? Yeah. If we had a way to maybe use subcontractors to speed the process up. Now that would assume a snowpocalypse, not kind of like what we got. The other is I just want to commend the Chamber of Commerce. They had a wonderful evening celebrating businesses in our community. It was a great evening, and a lot of very worthwhile organizations were recognized and individuals. And then I also want to thank Owensboro Community and Technical College and the Human Relations Commission for the Martin Luther King celebration event that occurred yesterday. I thought it was a wonderful event, particularly because young people were involved and featured a panel of young high school people. And they were articulate, they were intelligent, and they really, I thought, had some great observations about the future of equality and equity in our community and in our nation. So that's it. Thank you.
Mr. Sanford.
Thanks, Mayor. Just a quick comment. I want to thank the Public Works Department, you guys out there in the cold, snow, and everything that you do. Very fortunate to have you guys, because most of us in here would not want to be doing that. So thank you for all you do, because I've heard a lot of compliments how well y'all did. So thanks. And that's it, Mayor.
Commissioner Neesmith. I almost said Smith right again, Pam.
I've been waiting for him to mess up, Pam. He hasn't made it yet. Okay. I'd like to say thank you again, just like everyone else. It was grateful. We did have a lot of people that stayed at the hotels, but it was nice that they were having the right streets to get in from other cities. So that was appreciative of that. The other thing that occurred on Saturday morning, I attended something called the Community Conversations. It was about a 2.5 hour meeting with 14 speakers, and it was regarding just different nonprofit and service organizations that were available for people in the community that might not be more classified by being in the diversity and inclusive type of population. It was obviously very, very cold, but it was there was probably about 55 people, and heard from organizations that even I didn't know that exist. There's a lot of small groups of people out there that are trying to do good for just small reasons. Making sure their children, if they had some type of condition that could be recognized in school, how to keep them from being bullied and stuff. So there was I'm trying to think of the proper name, the Inclusion Committee, and also the American Association of University Women were also included in there, and of course celebrated the Martin Luther King, so we appreciate that. And then the other thing that happened is I was fortunate enough to be able to go to the Kentucky League of Cities training this last week to learn how to be a commissioner, so now I can be official, you all. But seriously, the one thing I'd like to say and compliment our city on is everything that we learned there was, what's the role, what's the protocol, what's the law, how do we do it, and the city of Owensboro and all the staff and all of our employees are already doing that, and it was pretty amazing. I didn't have anybody to brag to except Curtis, but it was good to know, and it sort of cemented the things that you might have had some questions on. So shout out to our mayor and Nate for that leadership and our staff.
Thank you. Okay, newbie.
Thank you.
You're on this hot seat, baby.
Thank you, Mayor. No further comment. They spoke everything.
I figured as much. You being serious?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, thank you. Next item on the agenda is open public forum. Members of the audience may address the Board of Commissioners on any matter of public concern that was not on the agenda. Comments are limited to issues within the scope and responsibility of the commission. Commission meetings are held to conduct city business for the benefit of Owensboro citizens and taxpayers. At this time, anyone who wishes to address the commission, please make their way to the podium to be recognized. Speakers must state their name and address for the clerk's record and limit their remarks to 3 minutes or less. There's a little thing up there to tell you when it's 3 minutes. Since items not on the agenda, no response is required from the staff or the Board of Commissioners. The mayor reserves the right to extend the time to the speaker. Who's up? Up.
Pam Smith Wright, 3520 Christie Place. I just came to say hi.
Hello.
And to tell you that I didn't get my notice for the meeting. That's why I was late. And so if you would continue to notify me. I'll be here on time. I was with the Museum of Fine Arts, but I had my dog at the groomers, and I forgot all about it, and I thought I'll get here and walk through. But anyway, hi.
Welcome back. Anybody else?
So my name is Matt Freeman, and I'm representing the Friends of American Legion Field. We're affiliated with the James L. Yates American Legion Post at 736 Frederica Street. And what I'm here today to address is the Owensboro Bombers is a baseball program that's been here in the city for approximately 90 years. It's made up of youth teams that are basically aged 13 all the way up to 19. James L. Yates American Legion Post was established. It has established the Owensboro Bombers baseball program approximately 90 years ago in Owensboro, Kentucky. And the Post did this so that the youth in our community would have the opportunity to develop their skills, personal fitness, leadership qualities, and to have fun. It's a veteran-sponsored program. We play our games and practice at local facilities. The main reason that I'm here today is to speak on the need of our program needing a baseball field to play at. Over the last 30 years, baseball facilities have dwindled somewhat in the city and in the region for a variety of factors. And at any rate, what we are proposing is that the city partner with the James L. Yates American Legion Post and the Friends of American Legion Field to build a 1,000-seat stadium here in Owensboro that would have amenities like a press box and a backstop and dugouts, hitting facilities, and whatnot, so that we have long-term viability. We propose that we would like to see this built in one of our parks, being Ben Hawes Park. There's quite a bit of acreage there that I think that is currently being used to develop pickleball courts. And we also see some areas there that are not being used that could be utilized for a field. And what it would mean for the program, like I said, is long-term viability, where we don't have to beg, borrow, steal, pay quite a bit of money to various entities so that we can use other facilities, where in the past we were able to use city-owned or county-owned facilities, and it was a lot easier at that point. One of the ways that I believe it'll benefit the city is that baseball is played, 3, maybe 4 months out of the year, and we see it as a venue that the city could use for concerts, community events like fundraiser walks. If we have comedians that come down to the convention center, and we believe that you could utilize the seating structure for events like that. I went pretty long. Yeah, that's the hook. Thank you, Mayor, and the Board of Commissioners. I appreciate it. So at any rate, what we are asking is that the Board of Commissioners, the Mayor's office, would consider working with us. The ask, if you want to call it that, would be to donate 6 to 8 acres of city-owned land property. We think that a facility such as this will run about $3 million. And we have, as the Friends of Legion Field, have done some research, and we believe that we can raise approximately $1.5 million. And we'd like to see if the city would be willing to match that figure so that we could achieve the goals of building an American Legion Field here in the city. We think that the city would also be a great partner in helping us develop that plan, since there has been a master plan to develop the parks, specifically the Ben Hawes. I keep on wanting to say Ben Hall State Park because when I grew up, that's what it was. But now that the city of Owensboro owns it, we've seen so much progress out there. And I personally want to thank Amanda Rogers, who I saw here earlier. Under her leadership, we've seen the park system grow substantially. The Rudy Mine Trails is a phenomenal place. And at any rate, that's what I've come here to discuss, and just wanted to put that on the docket for future thought. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Some of the best years of my life were playing Legion baseball for years, so I feel your pain not having a place to play.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Or, oh, we don't do the questions during this forum, do we?
We're not supposed to.
Got it. Perfect. Thank you.
They've got, all of them got emails, and you can email those things back and forth if you like.
Yes, sir. Will do. Thank you.
Who's next? It's not even 5 o'clock, I mean. Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Could I have a second, please? Second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.